Welcome back, dear listeners. And on the show today, we have a very special guest. We have Spencer. So, Spencer, without introducing you to our listeners, I'm going to leave that to you.
Fantastic. Well, very excited to be here on Radio 1 today.
Hmm.
My name is Spencer Cryder. I work at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad.
Hmm.
I've been in Baghdad for about 9 months now, since August of 2022.
Hmm.
I work in the public affairs section. I work on social media, press, working with journalists. So it's really good to be here today. I've been with the Department of State as a U.S. diplomat for
Hmm.
about 12 years now. I've served in Vietnam and Turkey and Spain and Washington, D.C., and now here in Baghdad. So really excited to be here on the program today. Thank you for having me.
That's fantastic. And by the way, welcome to our show in
Yeah.
Baghdad.
Thank
We're
you.
so happy to have you.
It's
Well,
awesome.
I want to welcome you to our show again, and we're so happy to have you here today. But I want to ask a more specific question about your role in here. First, what inspires you to work in a or become a foreign service, officer?
Sure.
And can you tell us more about your role in here?
Definitely. So, what inspired me to become a
Hmm.
foreign service officer is basically I grew up in Kansas. I was there for about 22 years.
Yeah.
We didn't really go many places. We went to Florida or Mississippi, and so I'd never really seen the world. So
Okay.
I kind of knew
Hmm.
after finishing university that I wanted to go off and do something else. And the foreign service, being a diplomat for the U.S., is a great way to do that. I get to go to different countries,
Yeah.
see different cultures and people.
Hmm.
So, but specifically at the embassy, what do I do? So the embassy, as most people know, they're diplomats and they're having meetings with government
Hmm.
officials. But I work in the section where I get to go out into the public and work with Iraqis. So
Hmm.
maybe it's doing events like today. It could be doing a press roundtable with journalists,
Hmm.
with a visiting official. It could be doing a student event at a university, or setting up exchange programs where Iraqis go to America or Americans come to Iraq. So basically working with people in Iraq and try and better understand them and
Hmm.
talk about the U.S.-Iraq relationship.
So interesting. I do love that. And I love that
Hmm.
how you thought about you wanted to see the word but from a different perspective, and you're also making an impact. You're not only just seeing the word.
Hmm.
I try.
And as far as we know, you studied the law at Tulane University.
Correct.
So, how was your experience there?
It was great. A few things about Tulane. I went there to get a law degree.
Hmm.
I thought that becoming a lawyer would help open doors to do something internationally. So I studied
Hmm.
international law.
Hmm.
And thankfully for me, it worked out. I finished law school, passed the New York bar, and then was able to get a job with the
Hmm.
U.S. government and become a foreign service officer. And
Hmm.
Tulane's in New Orleans, which is an amazing city. For all those people listening, if you're ever in the United
Mm,
States and you have a chance, go to New Orleans. Incredible culture, history, Spanish, French, all blended together.
yeah,
So it's a
Hmm.
super interesting city.
of
Okay.
course. Well, as we're celebrating today the word Freedom Press Day, something like that,
Yeah.
right? So, what do you believe is the most important role of the press?
Sure. So, yeah, today is May
Hmm.
3rd. It's World Press Freedom Day. I'm so happy to be here with members of the press, talking to you all, talking with people out there.
Likewise.
So basically, in the simplest form, why does the press matter? It's
Hmm.
because it can hold accountable powerful people, be those government officials or business people. They're able to ask questions and
Hmm.
get information. I think if a government, be it the U.S. government or the
Hmm.
Iraqi government, just says, "Trust me, we've got this. You don't need any more information." That's not a good sign.
Hmm.
You need to have people asking questions. The government needs to be responsive, and so that's the role that journalists play is having the discussion, more information.
Hmm.
It creates more transparency in a society, which is a good thing.
And some people say that, the modern world is a safer place now, and because of journalism. I mean, nothing can be hidden anymore.
Mm,
So I love that point. So when I think about journalism, I think about like a flashlight, like shining a light on
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
It can either be like a spotlight or a flashlight. And there's a really famous saying in the U.S., and it comes from the Supreme Court, and what they say is that sunlight is the best disinfectant, meaning that if you can see what's going on in government and other places, usually it encourages good governance, good decision-making processes.
True.
So the journalists have an important role in using radio, using a website, using a newspaper, using television to kind of shine a light and kind of make sure that what's happening out there is in the best interests of the people, be they Americans or Iraqis, that the governments are serving their people.
True. And by the way, you said that you've been here for 8 months. So any misconceptions about Iraq that you would like to discuss with us?
Definitely. So for me, the big misconception was that Iraq was stuck in the past in a state of instability.
Okay.
And so what I've been most impressed by here is the life out in the streets with Iraqi people. I mean, Iraqi people have been through a lot, but they're super friendly. They're very kind. They have a good sense of humor. They have hope. They're passionate about things. So I wish that more people could see what is happening in Iraq currently and the path that the country of Iraq is on right now. There are still challenges, but things are definitely getting better here. And one of the things we do at the embassy is try and tell that story to various people in the world. Say, hey, this is what's happening in Iraq, and things are going in the right direction.
Resilient.
Yeah, definitely resilient people. Yeah, incredible
Thank you.
people.
Well, in honor of the World Press Freedom Day, can you tell us what is the role, or how can the free, independent press promote human rights, democracy, positivity in the world?
So the press is going to cover the issues that they think are important to them. So some of that is governments being open to showing what they're doing. Some of it's to like highlighting what's happening in Iraq right now. Some of those stories will be negative. Some of those stories will be positive. But I think as long as they're having those discussions, that's what's really important. And it's important for governments to realize that the press have a role to play. If you start restricting what press can do, then those discussions become smaller and smaller. And once the press starts going away, then as individuals, freedom of expression can also start decreasing as well. So it's easy to disagree and say, oh, we don't want to hear from them, but eventually that'll come back to you as an individual, and someone will say, I don't want to hear what you have to say as a person. So that's not really what we want to see in a democracy, and that's just for all democracies throughout the world.
Yeah, and I think even when it comes to the competition between politicians and all, it becomes fair and clean. It's all about like who's doing better, who's helping people more, right?
Definitely, yeah. We really like to see what are the elected officials doing to deliver real results, meaningful results for Iraqi people. And if you have to go out in public and speak with the press, you need to be prepared to say, this is my policy, this is what I've done, and this is the result for the Iraqi people. And if it's not convincing, then next elections, you could have problems. So it holds people accountable.
That's true. And we've heard that you did some volunteer work in Thailand.
I did.
So how did that help you, as a person and in your position, your current position?
Sure. So, I mean, I was probably 23 years old, had spent most of my life in Kansas. And so suddenly I'm in a small fishing village in southern Thailand, living with a Thai family.
Okay.
Speaking Thai, not many people in the community spoke English, so I had to learn another language, learn another culture. It really helped me come to learn how to listen to a community and what did they need. I was there volunteering, helping out, and so basically after I'd been in this community for 6 months, they kept saying, we want to make sure these students have an opportunity to better learn English. So I didn't want to do it in a classroom where I was just like, this is how you speak English.
Okay.
We started a theater club for all the local kids, and so I took Shakespeare plays, converted them into simple modern English, shortened them down, and then we formed a theater group where they performed, they practiced English, they rehearsed, and then we would go up to Bangkok and do like a theatrical performance for other students. So it just opened my eyes to what's possible when you work in other countries and when you actually listen to people and find common ground. So it was a great experience.
That's
so
brilliant.
inspiring.
That's so beautiful
Yeah.
because we are teachers and hosts at the
Yeah,
same time.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Well,
So-
we used to teach. I used to teach before, but it's so inspiring, and I'm hoping that I did the same because I tried to do the same thing. I tried to teach in the same way that is not just a classroom and stuff, and I know that it works. So great for you.
Thank you.
Well, I would like to ask about Iraq. Iraq is known for its heritage and culture.
Sure.
What role do you see the press is playing in promoting or showing the world the Iraqi heritage and history?
So I think Iraq has so many valuable historical sites, cultural sites that the rest of the world maybe they don't know about yet, but they should know about. So I think there's so many stories out there in Iraq about Iraq's culture, about these historical sites that people throughout the world would want to know about. So part of this is journalists realizing that there's a new story here, that there's a new image of Iraq, and if they're interested, they can go out and cover those stories and kind of. It's not their job to change the perception. It's their job to say this is what it looks like now, and this is what the people there are doing, and what they hope to do in the future.
Yeah.
So there's lots of opportunities for journalists to kind of shape this new image of Iraq.
We need that, to be honest.
Of course.
Because it's so sad, because we deliver radio shows, lots of callers call us and say that we usually watch documentaries and movies about Egypt, pharaohs and all, but what about our culture? What about our ancient civilizations? Because we have lots of civilizations we had. Okay, so they feel so sad because people don't really shed light on that. And have you ever visited like any of these like ancient ruins, or any plans maybe?
Oh,
Future-
yeah.
Future plans?
So eventually I do hope to visit many of these sites. I haven't been able to do it. The ambassador's obviously been going out to many sites so far, and so we've been supporting her in that. But yeah, one day I hope to go there myself, and one day I have 2 kids, and I'd love it in 15 years, 20 years that I get a phone call and they say, I went to Babylon and I saw the Ishtar Gate. I was in Baghdad and I had kebab, or I was up in Mosul walking along the river. Like that's what is possible. It's just a matter of taking those steps continuously to get there. Iraq, people want to come to the cradle of civilization. They want to learn about Iraq. It hasn't been possible for a while, but that was the past. Now and in the future, that can be a reality. So I hope it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, going back to your profession.
Well, yeah, exactly. As a very successful person in your career, I would like to say, would you like to give advice to young people who are pursuing their career as lawyers?
So, as lawyers, I joined, or I became a lawyer to try and break into the international workforce. One of the really good things about going to law school or being a lawyer is the way that it trains you to think. So it helps you become, I think, a better public speaker. Your reasoning is better.
Yeah.
And you're forced to what we say, see both sides or argue both sides. So you have to be able to talk about this perspective and this perspective. So it can help you see the world in a better way. So I definitely think becoming a lawyer is a good thing. Be careful with like if you're married or have a spouse or something, don't like get into lawyering with your spouse and arguing, because that my wife tells me all the time, stop acting like a lawyer and just talk to me normally.
Okay.
So yeah, so don't take it too far, lawyers.
We feel you, by the way. And By the way, speaking of lawyers, have you ever seen Better Call Saul?
Yes, yes, the famous TV
Yeah,
series in the U.S. Yeah,
fantastic.
I try and be a little bit of a better lawyer than
Okay,
Saul.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know he does some questionable things
I
out
know,
there.
right? And by the way, I know part of our interviews is talking about the Iraqi cuisine.
Yeah,
So have you tried any of our dishes?
of course, of course. So the easy answer is to
Mm-hmm.
say that I like kebab.
Mm-hmm.
But that's too easy. It's too obvious. I could eat that every
Plain.
day. Too easy. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to say that. What I'm going to say is my favorite thing that I've had so far
Mm-hmm.
is gamer.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
like during the winter time at the
Mm-hmm.
embassy, we'll have gamer, we'll have samoon, we'll bring it in and eat it, and the staff I kind of messed up in how I eat it because I guess you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
open
Yeah.
the samoon
Mm-hmm.
and put the gamer inside and the syrup
Yeah.
or the honey, but
Yeah.
I put it on top like a piece of toast
Oh,
and was
okay.
eating it kind of the wrong way. So they're trying to teach me how to properly eat
Mm-hmm.
the gamer and the samoon, and I also learned about how they pull the ends off of the
Mm-hmm.
samoon and why those are always missing because people
I
like
know,
to
right?
eat those.
Usually,
Yeah, when they're hot
coming
out
back
of the
home.
oven. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot about
Yeah.
Iraqi food and behavior as well.
We're a little bit aggressive with food, like
That's
it's
good.
it's not just like, toast and some jam,
Yeah.
you know.
You have a lot to be proud of. The Iraqi
Mhm.
food that I've had is fantastic. So yeah, I could eat it every meal of the day.
So glad to know that.
Yeah. Ibrahim is so passionate about food, so he's never
Yeah.
gonna stop.
Sorry.
Well, that's a funny moment, and that brings me back to another question.
Sure.
Can you share with us a funny moment or maybe a lighthearted experience that you've had while you're in Iraq?
Definitely. So, I mean, a lot of the work that we do here can be really serious, and it's really meaningful. So I take the job here and I take what we're doing here very seriously. But there are lighthearted moments as well. And recently, I had a few of these during Ramadan at some of the iftars, and so it was nice to go out into Baghdad, go to various iftars. We went to like the solder school for the blind, and I got to speak
Wow.
with the students, hear from them. Incredible kids with incredible stories, and like their English level was truly amazing over there. Then there was I did another iftar with a group of students, and just got to high school students and heard from them about what they think. And we were talking about Elon Musk and talking about NASA's trip to the moon and talking about politics and everything. So it's been great just to sit down. I think Ramadan provided an opportunity just to like have a
Yeah.
relaxed time and just eat food, break the fast together and eat food together and learn more about Iraqi. So that was a super special moment for me.
I would say everything is going in the right direction here.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Hopefully.
Okay, and now finally, what message would you like to share with all Iraqi people?
Sure. So first is just thank you to the Iraqi people that I've met for being so kind and hospitable and generous. They've always welcomed me with open arms and a smile. So I really appreciate that. I think it says a lot about your country, about Iraq. Second, World Press Freedom Day. There's a lot of information out there. There's going to be more information. Social media, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, disinformation, misinformation. So the job is not only for journalists, it's also for all people. Like when you're looking at information, when you hear it, when you see it, when you read it, you need to think critically about what you're seeing and take that next step and think about where is this coming from, what's behind this, and just
Exactly.
think a little bit more about information, because it's going to be up to the people to be able to handle the incredible amounts of information that are out there. So everyone has a responsibility.
Well, yeah, and apparently, first I would like to thank you about all your answers, all your time during the interview, and we really had fun.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for having me on. I hope we can see the full recording on Instagram and people that they're listening on the radio
Thank
right
you.
now. So
Thank you
thanks
so much.
much.
We hope to meet again in the future, and maybe we have other interviews than this one talking more about
Sounds
journalism
great.
because it's a very important
Sounds great.
Agreed.
important
Mhm.
factor to be talking about
And the
here.
point that you mentioned about like people using social media platforms, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
nowadays, nothing is hidden. You know, we can use these
Definitely.
tools to protect ourselves.
Definitely.
Okay, so you guys invite me back. We'll talk about
Of
social
course,
media next
of
time.
course.
That would
Thank
be
you so
fantastic.
much.
Thank you both.
Until then,
Thank you.
bye bye, guys.
Bye bye. Thanks, everybody.